Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. If you know anyone who is pregnant, please share it with them as this information may be really helpful now. This video, I'm of course going to be talking about COVID-19 and how it is affecting pregnant women. So I'm going to jump right in it. I definitely do not want this video to be too long. Please listen to the video in its entirety because there's some good details at the end, shall I say. So I am going to assume that many people watching this probably have not been in a science class for an extremely long time. That was my undergrad degree, and I haven't studied science in a while. So first, I want to talk about, well, what is COVID? So let's begin with cells. So I'm assuming that you at least know what a cell is, right? All living organisms are made up of cells, and within our cells, we have what we call organelles, right? So they are tiny structures, right, within a cell, and each structure has a specific function to help the cell live and carry out its life process. And we can think of them like houses in our room. So the functionality of a kitchen is to cook. The functionality of the bathroom is to excrete waste, take a shower, right? The functionality of your bedroom is to sleep. Each room serves the house a purpose, right? For it to be called a home. And it's the same thing with a cell. Each organelle serves a purpose for the cell, right? And I have some notes to make sure I'm on track. So, excuse me looking away from the camera. So, if you don't remember anything, you may remember the nucleus, right? That is an organelle of the cell. And within that organelle, we have DNA. And DNA is actually the blueprint of all cells. So, our DNA as humans told us to be humans. It told me to be my skin color, my height, my hair, my eye color, right? It's the blueprint. A cat's DNA told the cat to be a cat, and vice versa. So, DNA is very important. Now, the DNA can live out these processes because of the organelles within the cell, right? You need all of the organelles to live and function. Now, viruses, they have DNA, also what you call RNA. It just depends on what type of virus. They have these cell-like structures, but unlike all living creatures who can reproduce on its own, right? So, for example, if I cut my hand, I don't have to tell my hand to make more cells, it's automatically going to do that. Viruses cannot automatically live and reproduce, they need a host to carry on these functions. So, a host can be anything: an animal, a person, another bacteria, right? Anything. And I'm going to talk about us, of course, because we're talking about COVID. So once these viruses are in us, it hijacks the cell and it uses our cell's organelles to replicate its DNA and to live its life process, right? So it cannot do that. If it's on the table, it cannot just replicate. It has to be inside of a host cell to continue its life process. Now, the coronavirus is a family of viruses, right? And has been responsible for other outbreaks. For example, like SARS, right? We should remember the SARS outbreak. So it's the same family. Now, what we have, of course, is COVID, coronavirus disease 19, because it came out 2019. So it is a respiratory um, virus, right? It affects the respiratory system and it is spread through respiratory functions. So, sneezing, coughing, spitting, eating food, licking your fingers, right? The saliva, and any other type of secretions that come from your respiratory system. And because it affects our respiratory systems, we have flu-like symptoms. The difference is, you have an extremely high fever, you have a dry cough. It's definitely leading to pneumonia in the lungs, right? And chills, fever, all these other flu-like symptoms. So there is no drug specific to the corona because it is a very new, right? We're not going to argue where it came from, if it was man-made, if it was from a bat, right? It's here, regardless of how it got here. It's here, and there is no COVID-19 specific medication to stop it, right? So they're testing other medications that are already known to stop other disease to see if it will be effective. So that's why it's very problematic. And of course, we all at this point have experienced shutdowns of everything, right? So no pizza, no Uber Eats, right? No happy hours. Those are things that we can honestly live without, but there are people who really need to be out in the community, right? Not just pregnant women, but unfortunately, though everything, right? All those services that we actually need have been brought to a halt. So it's very problematic. Let me look at my notes, of course, and make sure I'm staying on track. It's two changes that have been brought to my attention are very problematic. The first one, for pregnant women, when they are in labor and delivery, they are limiting the number of visitors. Not a problem. Totally agree with that. But in some states, it is so bad that they are not allowing anyone in the room with the birthing parent. So that is not okay. Absolutely not okay to be in a bedroom alone, not a bedroom, well, a hospital room alone giving birth, right? Literally, women hire doulas for the sole purpose of having continued support, and it's a fact. It's evident, right, that this continued support helps women. And I'm not going to list all the ways. You can definitely find more information on my page. You can find more information on Google. But a woman should not birth alone. That is not natural, right? So many things can happen, especially women of color. We are dying at alarming rates, right? The highest rates of any other race. We are dying in childcare, and also our children. So there's no one there to assist you. There's no one there to advocate for you. There's no one there to really see what's going on. Very problematic. So my suggestion for women who, well, one, call the hospital that you are planning to birth at and see what their policy is. Now, my suggestion is if you have time and if you are have a low risk pregnancy. So that means everything has been growing great so far, right? You don't have high blood pressure, nothing's wrong with the placenta, you have like preeclampsia, and just different things, placenta previa. If you don't have any of those and everything has been going great, I would suggest looking into a home birth, right? You can call your insurance, see if they cover that, find a midwife, right? And get that process started. That is with a midwife, that is called an assisted birth, right? So a professional is there helping you give birth. You also have what you call unassisted births that you have to heavily research, heavily be confident and be 100% sure, right? And I suggest that this is if maybe you're like 4 months pregnant at this moment, because we know that COVID is not really going anywhere anytime soon. I would not suggest it if you are like 39 weeks and you decide to just give birth on your own. Unassisted means without any professional, right? No midwife. You just trust your body to give birth on its own. But you really have to research because you have to know the signs of fetal distress and different things like that. So, first suggestion is call your insurance, see if they're going to pay for a home birth, find a midwife, find a professional who can assist you with that. Second thing, you can switch providers, you can switch hospitals. So it goes by area, right? Every state is doing something different. Excuse me, even within states, the different hospitals have different policies. So if your hospital is saying like, no one can be in the room with you, call a hospital a few miles down and they're saying, okay, 1, 2 people can be there. Guess what? Give birth there, right? A hospital cannot turn you down and tell you no, even if you're not like assigned to that hospital, right? My third suggestion is to, well, if your appointments have been canceled and you've been having great, like I said, low risk pregnancy, a few things you can do at home. You can get a fetal Doppler to hear like your baby's heartbeat. I would suggest only doing that once a month, right? That's not something you do every hour or even every day because it's still an ultrasound, right? And those waves aren't really necessarily good for baby. Electromagnetic radiation, well, ultrasounds, right? Ultrasound waves are not necessarily good, um, a long-term exposed use, right? You can get a fetal Doppler. You can get a blood pressure cuff, right? You want to keep up with your blood pressure because when you go on to your appointments, they are just checking your vital signs to make sure you and baby are okay. You can get a tape measure. You can measure your belly. Now, I'm definitely going to start offering more resources as far as how do you, measure your belly and things like that. But fourth thing, I think I'm on number 4, right? Hire a doula. Our job was very important before, but it's even more important now because now you have 24 access to us. At least I know with my clients, they have 24/7 access to me. So if something seems to go wrong, you shoot me a text message, you call me, I can let you know, hey, like, yes, this is right. I don't know. Or you need to go to the hospital. Right. So we are such a important resource, such a large resource, right? I show my clients how to, they can tell where the baby's position, if it's head down, if it's breech position, right? Which that's called belly mapping. I can show my clients how to measure their bellies, right? We can talk about blood pressure and things like that. So it's a host of information that we can give you without you having to go to your doctor's appointments because they're canceled, or without you having to go to the hospital to be exposed when you really don't need to be there. And many doulas, including myself, if not, have already switched over, right, are offering virtual support. So that's something I have already done because I serve clients who are out of state, right? I'm in the state of Virginia. I've done Florida, I've done Philly, all over the place, North Carolina. So virtual doula support, and that is the same thing at your birth, right? Virtual support can be done at your birth. The second problem is they are encouraging women who are 36 weeks or who are already at term to be induced so that like they can give birth before the outbreak becomes worse, right? And yes, theoretically that sounds smart. Like, let me just have my baby before the cases go up. But that can actually allow you to be in the hospital longer, right? So inductions typically lead to cesarean sections, and cesarean sections can lead to more complications, or inductions just can lead to just a host of complications. So I have actually, in my childbirth education classes, that's something I go over. So I have extracted the part about inductions and cesarean sections and went to more details and created a video, and it is on YouTube. So if you're pregnant, planning on getting pregnant, even if you're not currently pregnant, the information is really great to know, or you can share it with someone who's pregnant. Please watch the video on inductions and cesarean sections. There's several different ways to be induced, right? So it's best that you know, even if you are going to go that route, it's best that you know this information before you sign up for it, right? Because maybe you might want to go one route rather the other because you think it's safer or it's just best for you, right? So my job as a doula is to give you all the information, and then of course it's your job to choose what you feel is best for your body, right? It's your body, your birth, your family, your baby, right? So for it's very important that we learn to trust our bodies, right? My clients, I try to the best of my ability to coach them to trust the birth process, right? This is literally what we were designed and created to do. So, first things first, trust your body, trust your instincts, and trust you and your baby's ability to be okay, right? You're gonna be okay. Your body created this baby, and our bodies are created to get it out, right? So, videos starting to get longer than I expected. So, check out my YouTube. Send me a message if you have more questions. Comment, right? Use me definitely as a resource. And if you want to utilize like the virtual doula package, of course, send me a message. My website is also in my link as well. Thank you. Bye.